Let's fight, guys. Let's fight. Let's fight. Good to see you, Toby Gibbs, Vashti Magnot, and Naomi Morris. I see Kevin Brooks. All of these fantastic folks are always waiting ringside on YouTube when we come on. And I'm so happy that they are usually early, which says that they see the program as important. And guys, we feel that. We feel that at our end. Rupert Young joining us from Waterloo, Canada. Good to see you, Rupert, as well. Good to see you all you fantastic folks, Audrey, Tom, all you folks joining us there in the ring, joining us this evening, whether it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, the Pradoville of social media, Twitter, the ghetto of social media is what we call Facebook, and then the suburbs, it's YouTube. Thanks to all of you for joining us. Great to see you guys. We are ready to go at our end. We are so happy that you guys can spend this time with us. You know, as soon as you come, Laverne Harry Charan, you got to share the live stream. You got to show us those emojis. Coretta Millington, good to see you as well. Laverne Harry Charan wants me to give a shout out to Kelman Pasal as well. So, Kelman, a very good evening to you. Pinky Young, good evening. Yasmin Henry, Denise London Welchman, Claire Chappelle, and Onika Glenn, Diane Fordyce, Louisa Wills, and Morna Monroe, Valerie Ann Wong, all you fantastic folks. Yolanda Moore, Lily McGarrell, Joel Johnson, Andrew Cusbord. Good to see all of you folks. Freddie James, good to see you. Freddie, Gwyneth Jones, Don Raymond, Veronica Primo Rollins, Yolanda Moore, all you fantastic folks like Tonya Cummins and Bambi Love, Sharon Costello Edwards, and I see Collis LaRose is with us this evening as well. So great to have Collis and Roberto Lucas, Minty Graves Zandy, Don Raymond, all you nice folks. Audrey Cole and Lily McGarrett is with us. Onesta Wardeen, all of you fantastic folks. Gwyneth Jones and Denise London. Great to see all of you folks this evening. So good to have all of you in the ring with us tonight. And sorry we can't take any calls, but we are live. Somebody's trying to come through, not realizing we're already on the air. Guys, as you come on, we encourage you to share the live stream. We are so privileged to have each and every one of you with us in the ring tonight. Folks, let's fight! Let's fight. Good to have all of you guys. Good to have all of you guys with us in the ring, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. So many persons are pouring in to the arena, coming ringside. Good to have all of you guys with us. Donna Liverpool, good to see you. Yasmin Henry, Loretta Roberts, Deslyn Isaacs joining us on YouTube as well, and Joylyn Cook. Sharon Mercurius is there, and Frank Tiller Brown. Good to see all you fantastic folks. We love having you guys ringside. We can't lie. Claudette Harry rather. Great having you ringside. Abby Brown and Alexis Arthur. Good to see you there, Alexis. Welcome in the ring. Donna Liverpool again and Gwyneth Jones. All you beautiful, fantastic folks. Great to have you in the ring with us this evening, guys. Love that you guys can join us. Michael Fraser and Wayne Boucher, Joylyn Cook, Francine Niblet. A good night to you, Francine. Good night to Minnie Mona. Ariel Abrams, good night to all you fantastic folks. Angela McDonald joining us all the way from beautiful Belladrum. Good to see you. And I see Dane, welcome. Pennsylvania's ringside. Good to see you, Dane. And all you other fantastic folks. Great to see you guys. Dane, welcome. Joining us all the way from Pennsylvania. Love having you guys in the ring. Rayon Nurse and Jennifer Alice, Colette Kroll, and I see again and Chester's here with us. Donna Liverpool, Jennifer Alice. Good to see you, Jennifer. All you fantastic folks, guys, as you come on, share the live stream. I am ready to go. I hope you guys are ready as well. We're going to have a guest stopping by, guys. Let me let you know that up front. We are going to have a guest stopping by, and it's none other than the leader of the opposition. The Honorable Joseph Harmon is going to be with us a little later on in the program. We're going to be talking about quite a few things happening in our country currently, and he's going to be bringing us up to date with some other things. Great to have him standing by, and he's going to be with us just after we get through what's on the fight card this evening. Great to see all of you guys in the ring tonight, and thank you so much for joining us. Remember, guys, that we are available on so many social media networks. We're available on Twitter, and you can follow us. This is our Twitter handle at Shara Duncan. We're available on TikTok. Again, it's Shara Duncan on TikTok. We're available on YouTube. We're available on Instagram. We all over. We there. Folks, we there. Share the live stream, guys. You've been doing an awesome job over the last few days, over the last few weeks in sharing the live stream. And we want tonight to be just as wonderful as all the other nights. So welcome in the ring, guys, and share the live stream. We want to see those emojis. I'm not seeing enough emojis, and we want to see how you guys are doing out there this evening. Let's fight, folks. We want to see how you guys are doing out there. So show us those emojis. Over 1,500 of you already have joined the live stream, and we want to see how you guys are feeling. What are the emotions out there this evening? What are the emotions on Twitter? What are the emotions on Facebook? The Get Out? What are the emotions on YouTube? So share the live stream. And guys, you know by now you can share the link back to WhatsApp, and folks can watch the program right in WhatsApp without coming out of that platform. Share the link. You might want to send an email to somebody. However you choose to share the link, share it with somebody. Share it back to your profile. Share it back to a page. Share it back to a group. Those folks who are joining us on APNU AFC page, we want to see some shares tonight. You guys know yourself. Y'all know yourself. Those persons joining us on the APNU AFC page, we want to see some shares out to you guys. And those folks who are joining us on the Christopher Jones page, we want to see some shares coming from you guys as well. Great to see each and every one of you guys. I am so ready to go with the fight card this evening to let you know what is on the fight card. Ready to get forward. As soon as we get to our magic number, we are going to be good to go. We are going to be good to go, folks. So again, great to see Nicole Yaw, for instance, joining us, and Royston Walters, Chanika Samuels, LaRose. All of the LaRoses are here this evening. Oren Barker, good to see you. Oh, Maxine McDonough, great to see you as well. St. Romaine Adams, all you beautiful, fantastic folks. Great to see you guys out there on social media, in the virtual world. Great to have you guys with us. I see Nicole is with us as well. Let me see. I have to scroll back up to get Nicole's title. I want a problem with people this evening. Auntie Sandra is present. I see Junior JR is on YouTube. I see Nicola Anthony is in the ring. And good night to Jewel as well. Good to see you there, Nicola Anthony. Judith David is with us, folks. Great to see Judith and Valerie Ann Wong. Amanda Daniels is here. Winella Garnett. Winella, haven't seen you in a little bit. Great to have you this evening. Francine is with us. Francine Niblet is here. Sister Mercy. Good to see Sister Mercy. We know we need mercy every day, folks. Carletta Hines is with us as well. All you fantastic folks, welcome in the ring, guys. And let's get right to it this evening. A very good night to each and every one of you, wherever you're joining us from this evening. It is really great to have you. Let's fight, guys. We gotta fight. It's great to have you, whether you're joining us at home here in Guyana or you guys are joining us in the diaspora. Folks, it is so great to have you. And I gotta give a shout out to a couple more folks just before we get to it, guys. I want to give a shout out this evening to Gail Alicock, as well as Margaret Nelson, Philip Bumbery, as well as Stacy Wade and Edward Wade. I want to give a shout out to Wendell Harry, Marilyn Thomas, and the one and only Yvette Jarrett from Connecticut. Good to see each and every one of you with us this evening, guys. Again, we want to get right to the fight card, guys. A bit of information to get through. Let's fight, folks. Let's fight. And if you guys are ready, let me make sure I get all my notes together. If you guys are ready, so am I. And let's get to it, guys. Again, great to see each and every one of you. My guest is already here, lined up to go. And so let's get to the fight card this evening and talk with my guests at the other end of it. first and foremost on the fight card, guys, we regret to inform you that one of our colleagues, beloved Imran Khan, left us very early today, and what a shock that was! What a shocker that was! Most of us, of his colleagues in the APNU AFC coalition, thought that he was out of the woods and pulling through. Some of us had the privilege of chatting with him over the weekend, and he said as much. And to our shock and to our utter surprise and dismay and regret, we lost Imran very early this morning. Our thoughts and prayers go to his wife, Tammy, Tamara, Khan, and his entire family. There were several. There was a mass outpouring of grief and support for the family across social media during the course of the day, ladies and gentlemen. And I wish to highlight some of what came across social media as we mourn, as we observe this time of mourning in the wake of Imran Khan's passing. The Alliance for Change, the party to which he belongs, said it is with deep regret and sadness and tremendous pain that the Alliance for Change regrets the passing of one of its finest members, Imran Khan. Imran was a committed member of the AFC and later the APNU AFC coalition, who epitomized some exceptional qualities: youth, commitment, enthusiasm, and resistance. The leader of the opposition penned some thoughts as well, and he said, for his part, it was with a heavy heart that I write on my own behalf and that of the APNU AFC coalition to announce the untimely death of our friend and colleague Imran Khan, who served as communications director in the office of the leader of the opposition up till today. To his wife Tamara and other family members, we offer our deepest condolences and regret. When we read his upbeat note, when we read rather his upbeat note on Sunday, asking for a fruit salad and praising coconut water, we assumed that he had passed the worst, as well as being on the way to recovery. The sadness of his death, and some hours later attributed to acute respiratory failure, has been a terrible shock to us all, folks. And what a shock that was indeed. And we saw, for instance, the Guyana Cricket Board also, I saw, put out a statement talking about his zest and zeal for that sport, and chronicling his time working in Antigua as part of the West Indies team in various capacities, but all surrounding public relations for that team. And again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family this evening, guys. It's a difficult time. I cannot lie to you guys. It's a difficult time in the APNU AFC coalition, and we did observe that that Imran is going to be interred tomorrow. He is going to be interred tomorrow in keeping with the Muslim rites and the Muslim burial rites and traditions. And so that is something that we are looking at as well, and we are going to be, of course, we are of course going to be there and seeing our brother go off. Again, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and friends across the coalition, across the political divide, As we say, walk good, Imran, walk good. And you guys know, in the Christian tradition, we believe that to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. To be absent from the body, the good book tells us, is to be present with the Lord. And we know that the sacred texts of Muslims tell us, inna lilali wa inna ilali wajun, which I think, if my Arabic is any good, or my Arabic is any good, says, indeed, to Allah we belong, and to Allah we shall return. And what a beautiful text in both instances. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And again, the text that is sacred to Muslims tell us that indeed, to Allah we belong, and to Allah we shall return. And so Imran will be interred tomorrow there at Virgin Nugent. And we are definitely going to be going to ensure that our brother gets a good send-off, as we say, and to mourn his passing. He has really and truly left a hole in our hearts. Folks, that being said, we want to move on to some COVID news. As you know, Imran would have met his demise as a result of COVID-19, as did so many other persons. We're seeing today that the COVID numbers are very, very high. It's 123 confirmed cases, 123 new confirmed cases. There are 6 dead as a result of COVID-19. Today, there are some 21 pregnant persons. We're seeing some information coming out to the Ministry of Health who are infected with COVID-19. And folks, if you've been an ardent follower of In the Ring, every night we say to folks, social distance, wear your mask, sanitize, practice all the COVID-19 protocols that are in place for your health and your safety, that of your friends, family, and loved ones. And we've also said to people, get all the information that you can on vaccines and vaccination so that you can make an intelligent decision. And while we have also said, while we support vaccination, we also support persons who feel that is their bodies and their choice and they're not yet ready, they don't have sufficient information to go in that direction. And that is what we say to you guys tonight. Social distance, wear your mask, and sanitize. Practice all the COVID-19 protocols that are in place for your health and your safety, that of your friends, family, and loved ones. And again, 123 new COVID-19 cases, 6 deaths, and we're seeing pregnant people, scores who are now COVID positive. And the numbers, we saw the Minister of Health saying that the numbers are going to go up also in terms of confirmed cases in October. They don't expect any respite where that is concerned. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, we turn our attention now to law and order. To law and order, because we see a total absence of that. In several instances, we see an absence of law and order in several instances. And one of such instances is where we saw this young man was knocked down and mistreated terribly. Knocked down and mistreated terribly. Right? And this is Leroy James. Leroy James, it is alleged, was knocked down by the Chinese Manganese company truck in Matthews Ridge. Was hit down by that truck belonging to the Chinese Manganese company there in Matthews Ridge. Leroy James. And what is even more, we are made to understand that $50,000 was given to a member of the neighborhood Democratic Council there in Matthews Ridge to help from the Manganese company to help Leroy James with his transportation to get treatment. And this person on the Neighborhood Democratic Council, the NDC, only gave Leroy $20,000 from $50,000. And that being said, we were made to understand that Leroy cannot work. He's in severe pain. He's in severe distress. He has severe injuries. He cannot work. And to make matters worse, the Manganese company has not looked back over its shoulder. The Manganese company has not looked back over its shoulder at Leroy James. And so we're asking those folks there at that Manganese company and that NDC official, make it right. Make it right. Folks, share the live stream. As we move on, we want to see those emojis. Share the live stream. We want to see those emojis. Onward we go. Law and order, or the absence thereof. Abducted and beaten. Purgatory. Abducted and beaten. Ladies and gentlemen, abducted and beaten. And the reports are that the police have arrested a father and son in connection with the beating of a 25-year-old minibus driver. And the hunt is on for a third female suspect. Quite an interesting story. Quite an interesting story. The young man who was abducted and beaten, his name is also Imran Khan. And so Imran Khan, this 25-year-old bus driver, also known as Panko, right? He said that he was at his I.6B Coast home when 2 men attacked him on Monday night. He said they tied him up, forced him into the trunk of a car, and took him to the I.6B Technical Institute, ETI, right, to the Essequibo Technical Institute Road, where he was severely beaten and left to die. Severely beaten and left to die. Folks, it gets more interesting. Share the live stream. It gets more interesting. The victim's mother, Bakpati Khan, believes that the trio intended to kill her son over allegations that he was involved with their female relative. So Bakpati Khan is alleging that they meant to kill her son because his son was involved with one of their female relatives. Apparently, since then, the police has uncovered a Spacio car that was used in the abduction of Mr. Khan. And they also found a cutlass, belt, and gun. It gets a little interesting. The distraught mother, according to this report that we're picking up out of newsroom, the distraught mother said her son arrived from Georgetown and was relaxing when two cars, Gestapo style, mafia style, two cars pulled up to their house. Two men and a woman exited from the back. Exited from the black and white Spacio and took her son by force around 1930 hours. The mother said they dragged him, full Gestapo style, full mafia style. They dragged him, bound his hands with zip ties, and beat him as they forced him into the trunk of the car. Here's story here, people. Here's story. The mother further related the female who they're hunting for. The female then shouted at her and said, "Even the president cannot save your son tonight." The female shouted at the mother who was coming to the aid of her son and said, "Even the president, here finale, cannot save your son tonight." Well, when you're more bad and big and powerful than the president, when you say bad, more than the president, that's what the girl said, according to the mother. Even the president cannot save you tonight. Where's the SWAT team when you need them? People, where is the SWAT team when you need them? Share the live stream. These questions need answers. We turn our attention now to the economy. Ladies and gentlemen, we turn our attention to the economy. In the last budget, in February of this year, the first budget was September 2020. The first budget, the second was February 2021. This was the promise by this installed administration. They promised what? A path to recovery and economic dynamism and resilience. That was the promise. A path to recovery, economic dynamism, and resilience. How they going, people? Especially those in Guyana. Y'all on this part? Folks in Guyana, y'all feeling this? This path to recovery, economic dynamism, and resilience? I wonder if Joe Harmon feeling it. I wonder if he on the path to recovery, economic dynamism, and resilience in the economy. You feeling it yet? Folks, y'all be honest with us. Olive Farrell Chosen, Neil Diamond Star and Joy Fraser, Nicole Yaw, Bambi Love, June Cameron, June Peters, all the Junes on the stream tonight. Paulette Benji and Dillon, Allison Fraser. Y'all feeling this path to recovery, economic dynamism, and resilience that was promised? We ain't feeling it neither. That being said, folks, here is why we might be feeling the inverse. Just today, the media reported. Just today, look what's happening with food prices. The media has reported that according to according to data from the Bureau of Statistics, there has been a 14% increase in the prices of food. A 14% increase in food prices over the first 7 months of 2021. Folks, I think it's more than that. I think it's more than 14%. But this is according to the Bureau of Statistics. A 14%. How the economic dynamism going? This is what I meant by it. Folks, I want to see those shares tonight, and we want to see those emojis. When I go in the shop, I pay more than that. And we told you guys just last evening that because of the protests and the blockade and the closure of the border, the Guyana-Brazil border, prices have skyrocketed there in Latam. So if you're paying 5,000 for a bottle of gas in Georgetown, they're paying 10. That's not 14%. That is not 14%. The data from the Bureau of Statistics goes on to say that general living costs have increased by 5.4%. Folks, I feel those are conservative estimates. Richard McKenzie, Ingrid Lancaster. Very, very conservative estimates. And folks, if that wasn't enough, if that was not enough, I want y'all to watch story here. Watch story here. If you sit down next to your husband, your side chick, your sidekick, tell them watch story here. Right? You gotta get your popcorn and your coke. You have to get your popcorn and your coke. Watch story here, people. What story? So you got all these prices gone up. 14%. They say overall 5.4. This is not APNU AFC coalition information. This is the Bureau of Statistics under the installed regime. And that is why we're concerned that these are conservative figures. Very conservative. We think it's more than that. It might be 30%, 40% in terms of the prices for food. What story here, people? You remember the promise? Pathway to recovery, economic dynamism and resilience by the PPP. Remember that promise? How they going for y'all? Look what the Minister of Agriculture, remember we talked with you last night? Huh? Zulfikar corruption Mustafa. Remember we talked about you last night? Look what Zulfikar come out and tell me today. Same Zulfikar. Look what Zulfikar telling me. Zulfikar telling us that he wants 1.6 billion more. Not million, not thousand. Billion more for GUYSUCO over the next 4 months. GUYSUCO needs a lifeline. How GUYSUCO working out for them? They said we shut down. They opening back GUYSUCO and they're going to make a profit. They're coming bigger and better. That's what they told us. They're coming bigger and better. Now, Mustafa telling us, folks, that GUYSUCO needs $1.6 billion. Not for the next 5 years. For the next 4 months. Not for the next 4 years. For the next 4 months to keep going. And remember last night we told you guys. That the Skeldon sugar workers strike because of gratuity. They said them in the management getting gratuity. They're on similar contracts. Skeldon. So they want gratuity too. One wonders if it's that money that they want to pay. They want 1.6 billion. But folks, look what happened. Y'all sharing this live stream, folks. Look what has happened since the PPP came in. Look what has happened. And I told you this last evening. Check your notes and you can see it. Look what has happened since these guys came in. I told you how much they give to GUYSUCO. Look what has happened as soon as they came in. Remember I told you the first budget was September 2020. They give GUYSUCO 5 billion. Biggest budget ever. They give GUYSUCO 5 billion. Mind you, they had given them 600 million as soon as they came in. In August, they gave them 600 million. By September, when the budget was passed, they gave them 5 billion more. And then in December, they gave GUYSUCO another 4 billion supplementary budget. Right? Supplementary budget. The following year, this year, I told you, the second budget was February. They gave them 2 billion. And by June of this very year, they give them another 1.5. Now GUYSUCO want 1.6 more for the next 4 months. 1.6. When we told them we were right-sizing GUYSUCO, they said we wrong. We don't like sugar workers. We don't like sugar workers. And what we have said is not that we don't like sugar workers. We want sugar workers to get everything that concerns them, but we want equity. Why, since the budget passed in February, public servants have gotten zero? Empty promises. It's said by year end retroactive. But every time GUYSUCO workers strike, they get the money. But public servants who have been hard at work ain't get nothing, even though they said in line item 6141, there was a 10 billion there for wages and salaries, revision of wages and salaries they were going to give to public servants. Now, Ali said in August of this year, he said sometime before Christmas, you see money they've poured into the sugar industry, a failing industry that we try to right size. Look what GUYSUCO is doing, folks. I showed you this house last night. Right? This is the house, this government building. Right? This is the dream they're selling us. The house with no door, just a window. You just climb through the window. This is the dream they're selling us. Folks, our guest is standing by, the Honorable Joseph Harmon, leader of the opposition, and he is going to speak to some of these very issues. This is the dream that the PPP is selling. That is the dream, ladies and gentlemen, that the PPP selling. The PPP selling. That house with no door. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. I am privileged this evening to have Mr. Joseph Harmon, the leader of the opposition, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Harmon, a very good evening, sir. Welcome in the ring.
Very much, Sharad, and thank you for inviting me. I know your program has grown from strength to strength. The numbers I'm hearing this afternoon, tonight, I don't know where these people are. They're all over the world. Everybody's in the ring tonight.
But with an interest in what's happening,
keep fighting.
And leader of the opposition, they have a deep abiding interest with what's happening in their homeland. And those folks at home as well have a deep abiding interest in how this country is governed. And we love that. Welcome again, sir.
That's right. Thank you.
Welcome
Thank
again.
you very much.
You know these issues all too well. Let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the regretfully, we've had the untimely passing of your communications director. What are your thoughts this evening?
Sharad, I am deeply saddened. Today was a bad day, because when I heard that Imran had passed, it sent me in shock. For the entire day, I felt as if I was in a daze, because Imran has been so much to the coalition and so much to the office of the leader of the opposition that his absence now creates a void that can hardly ever be filled by anyone. He was such an excellent communicator, and I believe that it is that skill which he has developed over time that allows him to communicate with the rank and file of this country. He's able to disassemble what appears to the ordinary man to be government's policies, which are at a certain level, and break it down according to you, fine change, for them to understand what government is doing. He has been able to bring Guyanese people to a point where they understand that justice and the good life can be found once you have good information. And he has been an excellent communicator in that regard. So we're going to miss him terribly. As the communications director in my office, Imran also served as the secretary to the shadow cabinet. And so he held all of these positions and carried out those duties with energy, with strength and enthusiasm. It became very clear to me today, after he had passed, and I was now trying to do a statement for the public. Usually, Imran is the person I would go to. I said, Imran, let me get a statement. I would like to say A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And within a short time, I'll get it back. And then I recognized, well, look, this resource is no more. I got to do this thing myself or find somebody else.
Yeah,
He was the fastest person getting out a statement
yeah,
ever. And I think that he is going to be sorely missed by all. Guyana has lost a great soul in Imran Mohammed Khan. And I think that our country will be the poorer for it. But I know Imran is in a good place. I know heard you quoting the Bible and the Quran earlier in your program, and that he is in a good place. And I'm sure that his family, his wife, his mother, and his siblings, that they will feel that he has done his work on earth, and that there is more work for him to do somewhere else. And the good Lord has actually decided, okay, I'm ready for you, Imran. I have some work for you. And so he's taken Imran from us. But as you said, to be absent in one realm is to be present in another.
yeah,
And I am sure that Imran's presence will be in a good place. And so, to all of the friends, all of his the MPs who work with him, all of his colleagues. In fact, I just came off a program with Andrew Mason in Barbados, and a panel in Barbados that spoke about Imran's contribution to West Indies cricket and the impact which he had. And I could have felt Imran's energy from the first time he came back to Guyana when we were preparing for the 2015 elections, and the contributions he made to all of our planning, our communication strategy, and how do we were able to get our message out. So it's a great loss, and I think that we're the sadder for it. We're the poorer for
yeah,
his passing.
yeah. Leader of the opposition, a statement coming out of the Ghana Cricket Board says that between 2002 and 2015, Imran served in various capacities, including media
Yes.
liaison for cable and wireless, media manager and corporate communications officer for the then West Indies Cricket Board, and he was also head of marketing and communication for Stanford T20 Cricket. The statement goes
Yes.
on to say, from all reports, Imran brought a high level of commitment and expertise in the discharge of his duties in these positions, and in so doing earned the respect and admiration of both his employers and colleagues. This is a statement coming out of the Ghana Cricket Board.
I endorse that. I endorse that fully because that is the kind of energy which Imran brought to politics. That's the energy he brought to the AFC, to the coalition, and that is the energy I felt with him onto yesterday. As you know, Imran was communicating with the members of parliament in the WhatsApp chat, and I think it was on Sunday he was talking about getting some fruits, getting a fruit platter for him because he felt like having some fruits,
Yeah,
but that he was praising the virtue of coconut water, and coconut water is good for you. And so this is a person who was so upbeat about actually getting out of there, and then to hear yesterday or early this morning of his passing, that really was a shock, was a
yeah,
blow, because it's like a 360-degree turnaround
yeah,
from somebody who was very upbeat about getting out there, and just to hear that shortly after he has passed. I treated the news in the first instance as fake news because I just couldn't believe it until I think it might have been Gordon Mosley would have put it out early this morning. I called him. I said, "Where you got this information from?" But he said, "Well, I talked to the hospital people. I called the sources that he quoted, and they said yes." So it is a very sad day for us.
yeah.
We've actually in a day of mourning because he will be interred tomorrow, and we will be there in our numbers.
Thank you very much, Leader of the Opposition. And this has brought our attention, if it was ever taken off of COVID, back to COVID-19, and especially the governance of COVID-19 under this administration, this regime. There seems to be more questions than answers. We haven't got a definitive word from the administration as yet whether we have the COVID variant, the Delta variant, with us. Dr. Etienne from PAHO told us months ago they doubted her, they asked to be briefed and all of that. It took Trinidad about a month ago to tell us that a passenger
Yes.
on an outbound flight was positive for the Delta variant. And still, it doesn't seem as though that will have impacted the protocols and regime for COVID-19 any which way. The Minister of Health told us just today, leader of the
Yeah.
opposition, that we can expect the numbers to go up into October. But yet I see, for instance, there are reports coming out that schools are going from 8 to 3 from next week and next month.
Yes. Look, we're in a bad state where the management of COVID-19 is concerned. The government, the Ministry of Health and the government, they have no clue as to what they're doing. We're just going from event to event. It's a sort of an event kind of management of an important problem. As you know, Sharad, and your listeners know, we had offered to help with the task force on COVID, and they have bluntly refused it over all of these months, while the numbers keep going up. The ministers keep twiddling their toes because all they seem to do is to be finding out how much money they can make on these vaccines. And so it is just now about management of the vaccines. And they are no longer, it seems to me, interested in the whole panoply of, of measures that are important to deal with this problem. You know, this issue has what they call three T's. That is, first of all, tracking, tracing, testing, tracing, and treatment. And what we are doing now, we are basically dealing with just one element of the treatment, and that is the vaccine. So it seems as if we have thrown away everything else, and all you're now relying on is to get people vaccinated. We understand that vaccination is important, and we have promoted that. But you cannot forget everything else. You cannot order short amount of vaccines to people. I understand. I saw an article today which says that another batch of Sputnik is
Yeah.
coming. We have a whole set of Guyanese people who only had one dose, and they were not sure when they are going to have another one. So the whole management of this vaccine program is in shambles. It's in
Shambal.
shambles. And now you have the World Health Organization saying that they will not give approval for the Sputnik V because the Russians have violated some protocols. So even in the instance where you did not have emergency use authorization, we were still going ahead and issuing it. Basically, Frank Anthony saying that the Sputnik V was in the line to be approved by the
Yeah.
World Health Organization.
Yeah.
The WHO has now said that they're not approving it, but still we bring it in Sputnik.
And leader of the opposition, you asked Frank Anthony a number of questions based on the importation of
Of
Sputnik V
course,
and Dalmood Al Maktoum and their dealings
that's
with
right.
this shady sheik, and we're still waiting for those
We are
answers.
still waiting on those answers. And so they will get away with it because that is the basis of our motion of no confidence in him. That is the basis of it, and it has to come back up because they have stolen our money. They've paid it in a shady transaction. They have brought to us vaccines which we cannot verify the authenticity of and the potency of it, and still expect us to just lay back and accept that everything is fine. No, it is not. No, it is not. And the management of COVID-19 is in a woeful state by this administration. Guyanese people are dying, and they are sporting and driving out, going all over the world and talking a bundle of nonsense on these international stages before they sit down and understand that what we are in Guyana now is a COVID-19 crisis. We are in a crisis.
Yeah.
And therefore, you have to deal with this crisis as a campaign and put all of the resources necessary to fight this problem. You know, when you go to elections, you have a campaign, and you have a whole series of things happening, billboards, jingles, and all of that, that educate people about what your programs are. But you have a problem now in this country that's killing people by the day. I understand 6 died today, but My information tells me
Yep.
it's about 10.
Yep.
It's more than that.
Yep.
It's about 10 persons. So you have all of these issues that are confronting us as a Guyanese people, and yet this installed regime seem incapable of handling it, but still they are proceeding in a manner as if there is no problem. And this problem can be dealt with by money. That's all they think about. How much money they can make. Rather than buying this vaccine, we could get it free. We can pay for it so we can
Yeah.
make a little money off of it.
Yeah.
Look, we went to the United Nations. Everybody else talking about it. Mia Motley laid out a very clear picture of what the thing is in Barbados.
Yeah.
Our government, our president and vice president, and the whole caboodle of them that went there said the absolute nonsense. I don't
So,
even understand up to now what they're saying. But they
but
could not convince anybody that COVID-19 is a problem in Guyana.
I think I think you may have answered my question, but that I have on that. But you're welcome to expand on it. Having been at the 76th meeting of the General Assembly there at the United Nations, did Ali
Yes,
presence, being taken there by his handler, Mr. Jagdio, who saw to the to his presence and his presentations there personally. Did his presence
yes.
there hurt or help our country?
Sharad, it is hurting us badly. When we were in government, between that 2015 to 2020 period, we restructured the Ministry of Foreign Affairs so that it can provide that quality of leadership on the international stage. Our representations and all of these international fora were of the highest quality. People were proud to invite Guyana to make presentations at these fora. Guyanese were proud to speak. In fact, I just came back from Ghana. I went there with my assistant. And because they know that we are Guyanese and they know that, we have this posture, there were universities, churches, everybody calling on us to present papers and to lecture. But what we are having now is a sort of a demolition job that's being done. The same thing that Rohi did when the PPP came into office in 1992, off with their heads. It is the same thing that is happening now. They're demolishing the entire structure that was put in place to promote Guyana's interest abroad. So all of the ambassadors, all of this technical staff in these ministries and these missions, they're being packed, come back home, so they can actually put their cronies to be ambassadors and persons who don't have an understanding of diplomacy. So what Irfan Ali did at the United Nations was just the tip of the iceberg, because what he represented is the quality of people we have in the foreign ministry right now. And so to go to the United Nations and not to be properly prepared is an indictment on this regime. It's an indictment.
And
When
and
you go when you go to speak at those fora, for I have been to several of the subcommittees of the United Nations. And when you go to speak, you have to rehearse your speech at least 10, 12 times before you go there. Every word that you got there, you gotta know. Your heart has to be in it. But when you go there and somebody just reading something that somebody write, like it's for the first time you're reading it, you can't pronounce certain words. You don't understand how things connect. You understand? So I think that was an embarrassment, and really, we the Guyanese people should be given an apology by Irfan Ali, by Bharat Jagdeo, by Robert Prasad, and the whole team of them that went there to produce that nonsense that Irfan Ali read.
and leader of the opposition, we don't have to go far for a comparison. As you said, Mayor Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, did a presentation, came away from our prepared re-
Yes.
remarks and did a
Yes.
fantastic presentation of breadth and depth, as you said,
That's right.
chronicling and cataloging what's happening home in Barbados, the reality of what
Yes.
is happening on the ground, and charging and challenging the international community to step up. By the same
Yes.
token, if you look at the content of Ali's presentation, it was all over the place. One thought that
Yes.
Ali had a tremendous opportunity here on the world stage to link his domestic policies to his international relations policies, and perhaps even marry it to the new world order that Chetty Jagan spoke about in his time on the international stage. Totally blew it, and crashed and burned as the world saw. What do you think about the content of his presentation?
I think there was no content, frankly speaking, and and when you listen to what he was saying, when you understand that this is the world stage, that all of the leaders, those who were not there, that were in their countries, they had very clear presentations. Even those who were not speaking English and the interpreters had to interpret for them, you could actually see that linkage. You could see in their presentation themselves that they knew what they were saying.
Structured
But this
stuff.
is what happens when you have bad speech writers and you are not connected with what you are saying. There's a lot of disconnect because if your heart is not into something, Sherrod, no matter how much people write it, you're going to see it and it's not going to go
Yeah,
because your heart is not in it.
yeah.
And so you pronounce words in a certain way that should not be pronounced that way because it's no big thing for you really. So I think that the content was bad. I'll tell you an experience which I have when I was coming from Ghana. I traveled through Suriname. Between the airport of Suriname and into Paramaribo while I was traveling, the drivers and the fellows chatting and so on. They say, man, how y'all prime president song like that? I said, I said, listen, no, y'all don't get it to be business. Don't get it to be business. They said, but at least, chief, sir, these are simple words. These are simple words to belong. So it really is not just that embarrassment at that level, but at the lowest level, the ordinary man in the street in various countries, Guyanese have been lowered in their estimation because of the performance of President Irfan Ali on that world stage.
Yeah.
He had an opportunity, his first opportunity as a president. Go there and be a president and sing like a president.
Dr.
Don't
Irfan,
go there like with your headmaster over you with a wild cane telling you what to do, no, say this or say that. You look like a puppet. Guyanese people have always said it, but now you go out there and you demonstrate it before the world, and you can still come back here around when people call you that. The world has seen you as that. And that is what they will see of Guyana, unfortunately. And it is going to affect our relations with the rest of the world because that level, that esteem with which people held us is going to be lowered in a big way.
yeah.
Because if they say, well, is what y'all got? This is your best? Well, I don't know what's the worst.
Again, leader of the opposition, a total missed opportunity for Irfan Ali. He had a big moment to say,
Yes,
this is my worldview. This is the worldview of my country. This is the world according to Irfan Ali. Totally blew it. We
yes,
think that Starbuck News was trying to be kind and not to embarrass Irfan Ali by any means, but and seemed to have been pulling punches in an editorial just this morning. Part of that editorial reads, and I want to get your reaction on the other end. It reads, sir,
yes.
given that there can now be no question then that the quality of President Ali's tenure will be assessed largely on the basis of the accomplishments of his foreign policy returns. There is justifiable concerns over what still appears to be decided sketchiness in both the conceptualization and the application of the economic diplomacy framework and its attendant agenda. Your thoughts?
Quite a lot of words there right? Like, you gotta break it down, find change to people.
They said what he
What
did there in
Saboteur,
New York was bare nonsense.
yeah, what Saboteur is saying is that look, there is a disconnect between what you're talking about here in Guyana and what you're telling us here on the international stage. That there's no connection between these things. There's no connection between your economic policy. There's no connection between your foreign policy, and there's no connection between in that and your the domestic arrangements. So that when you go out there, your foreign minister, your foreign ambassadors, your high commissioners, they have to go out there with a plan. How am I going to promote Guyana? How am I going to promote Guyana's best interest? And so for you to understand that, you have to understand what is the economic policy, what is the framework in which Guyana is going to see itself in this international, in this huge world out there. And so if you don't have that connection, you have people you just pick up and you put them there, they will never be able to
You
sell
call him
Guyana.
Robert Mossad.
Exactly. They will never be able to understand what is in Guyana's best interest. So when you, for example, you sit down at these international bodies, you sit down at conferences and so on, you'll vote the wrong way. You'll press the wrong button. When instead you're saying, I vote for this, you vote against it.
Like the
Because you're not
racism bill.
connected, your mind is not there, right? So they're just going there for a little puppy show.
Yeah.
And this is what the one Jack Deere is doing. Puppy showing all over the place. I understand now he's trying to invite himself to go to Ghana. But you know, a Rasta man told me something a
He's
few
trying to
years
follow
ago.
you, sir.
He trying to follow me. He go to Suriname, I go to Suriname, he thought in Suriname, he go and fly there to find out. And he here in there now, he here and Ghana, he go in there. But you know, when he's doing that, what he's trying to do is to show to the world that there's a connection between the Africans and this government, when in fact the African Guyanese, you're treated like dirt. And you're trying to go out there to promote yourself as this big investment opportunity for Black Africa. But a Rasta man told me one thing, you know, Sherrod. He said you must dance a yard before you dance abroad. So, so he said you dance a yard before you dance abroad. So you fix up your Guyanese people, fix up these problems you got there before you go on the international stage and pomposetting yourself and palavering yourself. You know, and during my visit to Ghana, I went to this place called the Cape Coast, where the slaves were actually removed from Africa that came to the Caribbean and came to Guyana. And, you know, there was a room in this castle where the slaves were traded. They had this big table and all of the white people on one side, and they brought in the slaves, and they were actually like a market. So this one would offer $300 for this slave. The other one said, no, I can offer $4. The other one offer $5. But it's a room in which all this bartering took place that is called a palaver room. So when Guyanese people say you're palavering, that's what Jack is palavering. He's basically just trading and hustling. They're on a hustle.
Yeah.
Right? You're on a hustle. So that is what he's doing. Going to the conference on climate change and speaking about Guyana being this wonderful place when in fact they're destroying the mangroves, when in fact they're cutting down trees like they're heading good, when all these forest coverage, which we have such a big name on the international stage, that they're giving licenses now to cut logs like nobody's business, and still trying to convince the world that we are this safe haven where the environment is concerned. There people are going to see through that.
Yeah.
Because all of these countries, all of these organizations have ways of monitoring what you do. And so those lies that he got away with during his first term of office, he can't do it now. People will confront him. And so this is what they're on. They're on a campaign now of trying to show to the world that they are treating African Guyanese in an equitable way, when in fact they are doing the worst thing that has ever happened to us in this country,
Yeah.
and trying to go abroad, dancing abroad while they're messing up the yard.
Yeah, and leave the opposition while they're dancing home here. They talk about rigged election. They preach it every street corner, every little audience that they get. They preach it. I was surprised if they felt so passionately about the elections here being rigged. It didn't come up at all in this lengthy, even though it was a very dull presentation by Irfan Ali, it was never mentioned. It's this testament that this is just a whole pack of lies, and that they
Yes.
can't sell that. They can't sell those dreams on the world stage.
No, I can't. And this is what we have always said, that the evidence of rail rigging took place, is the evidence of it came out of the recount. And we saw what happened in the recount. So the burden is on them to prove otherwise. The burden is on them to prove otherwise. So while they can go and they speak at the street corners here at the bottom house meetings and tell people nonsense, out there is a different story. You have to come with facts. You have to come with facts. And these facts we have documented. We have documented. We have prepared a document. We have prepared a documentary called The Theft of Democracy, and it's following them everywhere they go. I circulated far and wide. In fact, when I went to Ghana, I saw a copy of it there. I said, lovely. When Jack Dew comes, y'all put this in his face. Media must ask him these questions. What is this? Why have you fired all of these Afro-Guyanese from the public service? Why have you not given the public servants a raise when you've actually been given, I think you were given the numbers to GUYSUCO only just now?
Billions.
Why is this? Why is this discrepancy? Why are you discriminating in such a big way? He must answer those questions. We can continue to ask them here, but now what is happening now is that the international stage is becoming that much more a hotbed for them.
Yeah.
They can't just go there and dance because we are getting our information out there. Our people are now texting and they're Googling and so on, and they're seeing what we are saying. Your own program. People all over the world are seeing it. Somebody was asking me something.
You're
I
too
said, look,
kind,
just
sir.
go and ask for in the ring. Just go and check in the ring. I used to say, I felt them share a dump and look for
You're
you.
much too kind.
And every single day, you have the issues that are affecting Guyanese. It's
Talking
there.
talking about the issues that affect Guyanese. Annette Ferguson said in the past there was a gentleman there at the in the army who was heading up a black clothes. They didn't like this talk of black clothes. But it's as though the black clothes come back indeed, because we saw what happened there at Dartmouth in the Essequibo. And they're yet to
Yes.
tell us who has authorized that SWAT team there. Now, there have been calls for an independent investigation. They seem not to want to go in that direction at all, leader of the opposition. What are
They
your
don't
thoughts?
want to go. They don't want to go there because what we are saying is in fact happening. Shortly after that, they passed that money in the National Assembly for what they call the regional security team or whatever they call it. The pseudonym for the same black clothes. They went to Linden and 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning arrested a driver. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes,
The
the
same Gestapo style.
chairman, yeah,
Yes, the
his
same,
driver.
the chairman's driver, the same Gestapo style, and you're seeing it happening all around. But what they're doing, they are suppressing these figures by not providing accurate crime statistics. So they are basically saying to the world, oh, crime is under control because they are not reporting it. And so what we have is an underreporting of crime when in fact crime is spiraling out of control. It is spiraling out of control. And we have actually spoken to the Commissioner of Police. And in my absence, I believe that Mr. Roysdale Ford wrote the Commissioner of Police requesting a meeting to discuss this issue which occurred in the Essequibo and the general security situation and crime situation. But of course, they wrote back to say they're busy and they will tell us when it's possible to meet. But that has always been their attitude because they're afraid to be confronted with facts and figures and to show how bad they're doing. This police force, when we were in office in between 2015 and 2020, we spent money on the quality of policemen, the quality of officers. We sent them on training all around the world. And they came back and they were performing. But what we have now are people who are just dancing to the tune of Freedom House and Irfan Ali and Barra
Yeah.
Jagdeo. And so that quality of professionalism as a police force, they have lost it. So anywhere you go, they see the lady that you spoke about earlier, say even Irfan Ali can't do
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Even
That
if
is
anybody
an
can save you.
attitude that is now permeating some aspects of the society because what you have is that disrespect which has been brought about, where
Yeah.
people know that the police that they are not doing real police work, that they are doing the biddings of
Yeah.
the political masters.
Yeah.
And so if you are connected politically, you know that nothing is going to happen.
Yeah.
So they could talk like that because they know that nothing is going to happen.
Yeah.
And so when you have that, you have a breakdown of law and order in a society. You're looking at bad days. And if you were to basically take Frank Anthony on his projections that we're going to have more COVID deaths and so on coming along, then we'll have a worse situation in the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
I heard you speak earlier about the figures and the increase in prices and so on for
I was
food,
coming there. I was coming there because
right?
their opposition, they promise economic dynamism and resilience. And we are feeling it. People are hurting economically in this country. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a businessman just this afternoon who said the businessman that he talked to, who wanted them back
Yes.
because they felt that money would have been flowing under them, now crying out. People are hurting
Yes.
deeply economically in
Yes.
this country. Your thoughts?
Well, Sherrod, we actually did a walkabout of the markets and so on. And so people were coming to the office to the leader of the opposition and telling us about these increase in prices and so on. But, I said before we actually go public, let us go and don't just listen to the shoppers. Let's go and speak to the vendors. And when we went there, they gave us the same story that the prices of basic food items, rice, sugar, flour, chana, peas, oil, milk, beef, chicken, all had gone up. And it's not that 14% or something like that that the Bureau of Statistics talking about. It's higher than that. And the Guyanese people who have to go into the shops, they know that. They know that it's much higher. So we are faced with a situation in which the prices of everything are going up, but that money is not circulating among the ordinary people of this country. There's a lot of money in the Guyanese economy, but it is being controlled by a certain level of people,
Yeah.
and to a large extent, the large volume of Trinidad businessmen that are here now, that's sucking up and sapping up that money. And this is what Irfan Ali, they said they will do, and that is what they're doing. So that we have a clique there that's absorbing all of the money, and those little bit which come out, it just goes to GUYSUCO. So the rest of us have to basically, like somebody said, eat the bread that the devil need. So it's bitter times.
Yeah.
But let me say this one more thing on the economy and
Go ahead,
and
sir.
why things are in the way they are. We have been talking for a long time in the oil sector about local content. Local content was meant to ensure that local people, Guyanese people, enjoy some of the benefits of upstream and downstream oil. That is what it was meant to be. We had done the whole framework while we're there about for our local content policy, guided by best practices in many countries where it is. They came in and said, this is nonsense, we're going to scrap it. We are advised by the private sector to do this and to do that. Now the local content policy is now being reorganized or refashioned. A whole year and more past since they're in government. The money is flowing in the oil sector. People spending, Guyanese people are not getting it.
Yeah.
Now what we are hearing is that local content is not just about local people. And the first time we heard about that, it came from the president of Suriname, Santoki, when he came to visit Irfan Ali. At the same time, Jagdo carried all the oil people to Texas, and he came to visit to talk about oil and gas, and there was nobody to talk to. So when he went back to Suriname, he had a press conference at the airport, and the press people questioned him about what is it that he discussed with Irfan Ali. And one of the important, the salient points he made was that Guyana and Suriname had a difference when it came to what is local content. In that local content for them meant Surinamese people. But that for Guyana, it meant Guyanese people plus third parties. So what this means is that we can bring in the diaspora, we can bring in Trinidad, we can bring in anybody else, and they're sitting there at the table sucking into that little small percentage, which is called local content. So if local content is 20%, we got to share that 20% with Trinidad or the diaspora, whoever they call. So that every opportunity that they're taking is to squeeze the small man out of the benefits of this country's resources. And so this is an important point that we have to understand. We have to fight it. That local content must mean local people.
Definitely.
When you sit at the table, I can't see a Trini or anybody else sitting at the table representing me say that they're local Guyanese. Guyanese is Guyanese.
Yeah.
And we must get our fair share of this sector and what is happening in it. So there's not much coming by way of economic benefit to the ordinary man in this country. Some of them are getting a little contract here and a contract there, and some of them feel happy about that. But it's a small set of crumbs that fall from the master's table that they have you scrambling for.
Yeah.
That is what is happening. And it cannot work. It cannot work. It's an unworkable system. It's an unworkable structure, and it has to be revised.
Very well. Very well. Leader of the opposition, Joseph Harmon, that's our time for this evening. Unfortunately, I know you have other places to be. You're very busy man, but I want to thank you, sir, for coming by and spending this time with us here in the ring. It's always an education having you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sherrod, and thank you to your listeners. And let me say again, COVID-19 is a reality. Do not treat it as if it was an event. We have to make sure that those super spreader events, these all white parties, all black parties, and so on that they give them permission for, that social distancing is still a part of the measures that are necessary to fight this COVID.
And also the outreaches with the ministries that I got hundreds and thousands of people meeting in ministries and then asking for Blue Book.
That's right, and still you're basically saying that the numbers will go up, and you're doing nothing with that projection in mind. You're still doing nothing to stop the spread, or to put in place some measures that will reduce the numbers that you're talking about. It's as if they're, like last Jagdo said, people gotta die. And that is his posture. That is his philosophy. That is COVID and people will die. People gotta die. Well, so what?
Yeah.
But it can't be so what for us. The Guyanese, the people are the nation's resources. This is our natural resources. The people. And this is what keeps us going, we as a people. And we in the opposition, we will continue to fight with the people for the people against this tyranny that is called the PPPC and the installed regime.
Very well, sir. Very well. Thanks again for joining me this evening.
Thank you very much, Gerald. Thank you.
And folk, that's our time for this evening. Unfortunately, that is our time. And again, we want to thank the leader of the opposition for coming by and for spending this time with us, to elucidating, to clarifying, for giving context to so many issues that are very, very pervasive at this time. And we want to inform you guys why we continue to mourn the untimely passing of our brother Imran Khan, as we continue to mourn the untimely passing of our brother Imran Khan. We wish to advise the public that the former director of the Department of Public Information, who was husband to the Attorney at Law Chamara Khan, he's going to be interred tomorrow. He's going to be interred tomorrow at his mother's residence at Lot 117A Section E, 117A Section E, Virgin Nugent, West Coast, Demerara, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then he's going to, and that's on Wednesday, September 29th, which is tomorrow. And then the Jamaza will be observed at 2 p.m. at his mother's residence as well, at his mother's residence, then to Virgin Nugent's burial ground where burial will take place. And again, our thoughts and prayers go out to all of our friends and colleagues there mourning the tragic and untimely passing of Imran Khan. May his soul continue to rest in peace. And folks, that's our time for this evening. That is our time. Usually we'd stick around and give a shout out to folks, but we want to be, we really want to be solemn this evening in this regard. And so we're going to take our leave here this evening. We're going to see you guys right back here tomorrow evening. Thanks for joining us, folks. Stay safe. Social distance, wear your mask, sanitize. Practice all the COVID-19 protocols that are in place for your health and your safety, that of your friends, family, and loved ones. Guys, get all the information you can on the vaccines so that you can make an intelligent choice. And for us, vaccinate, folks. Vaccinate. Thanks for joining us. Do stay safe.